it was not even the Brahmana. Above the Brahmanas were the self-realized souls. And the materialistic Varnashram, it was the Brahmanas. And the spontaneous Varnashram is the rich and the famous. They are the top people in the world today. And the Varna is eligible for the highest position. In the spontaneous, basically, it was the rich and famous. In the materialistic, the Brahmanas only. And in the Daiva, everyone can go to the highest position. So that's why we want Daiva Varnashram. So, when I first came to India, the caste Brahmanas were criticizing Srila Prabhupada that, you know, how you make these lechas into Brahmanas. And we were in Vrindavan, and some of the Brahmanas said to us, wow, you're doing such a nice puja. Next life, you can be born in a Brahmin family, for sure. And Prabhupada told Prabhupada, and he said, okay, you tell them, wow, you're doing such a nice puja. Next life, you can be born in ISKCON. Prabhupada was very, anyway, he was very direct. The problem in India is that the Brahmanas were keeping other people down. They didn't want them to come up. But Prabhupada, he changed all that. And he allowed everyone to be advanced, to become a Brahmin. When I was in Goa, I lived in Goa for 5 years in the village, I used to drive a moped. And the one who serviced my moped was a Brahmana. He had a Brahmin thread, but he was covered head to foot in grease. And and people were saying, oh, Panditji. I said, yeah, oh, Panditji, can you fix my bike? So this is happening. This Asuric Varnashram, you can see in India nowadays. This is not qualified to be a Brahmin. And I do believe that at 12 o'clock noon he would take a bath and do some puja and go back to his fixing the bikes the whole day. But anyway, this is going on, and Prabhupada did not accept this. And so the duty of the king is to hold up the dharma. So dharma is for the king, for the Vaishya Artha, or economic development, for the Shudra Kama. So what is dharma? It's described that in the beginning of creation there's 4 pillars of dharma. Cleanliness, mercy, austerity, and truthfulness. And Lord Brahma, he created the 4 ashrams to uphold the 4 pillars of religion. This is from Canto 3, Chapter 12, verse 41. And instead of cleanliness, there was here education. Education, charity instead of mercy, penance, and truth are the 4 legs of religion. They correspond to brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So brahmachari life is meant for education, and according to first canto, cleanliness, so these 2. And the grihastha is for sense gratification with a charitable disposition. So first canto says daya, here it says dana, charity. The purpose of grihastha life is to uphold the pillar of mercy or charity, daya or dana. Vanaprastha is for austerity, and sannyas is for the truth, satya, absolute truth. The sannyasis must give the truth to the people, fearlessness. So Prabhupada wanted Daiva Varnashram, and how do you know where you belong? Of course, you study Bhagavad Gita, guna karma, according to your guna and your karma, you can find out, and anyone can be elevated. It's not according to birth. Even in previous times, people who were from lower classes were accepted as Brahmins. There's the story of Gautam Muni, when from Jabal Upanishad, somebody came for instruction. So the Muni said, "Who's your father?" He says, "I don't know." He said, "Go ask your mother." He asked his mother. Mother said, "I don't know. Who's your father?" Because she was a prostitute. And he went back and he told Gautam Muni, "My mother says she doesn't know who is my father." He said, "Okay, you're a Brahmin, because you're telling the truth. You didn't try to hide this from me, so I accept you as a disciple." Now, satya, truthfulness, it is the quality. Even in very ancient times, this was accepted. But nowadays, it's a little problem. In Paris, even the professors in the West, there was one professor in Paris, 73, Prabhupada said, "We are creating Brahmins in the Western countries." And the professor said, "Don't you think that is against the Dharma Shastras?" And Prabhupada said no, and he quoted this Chaturvanya Mayashistam Guna Karma Vibhaga Shahad. According to your quality, your guna, and your work. If the symptoms of a Brahmana are found in a Shuddha, he should be accepted as a Brahmana. And so he said, everyone's sleeping. Everyone is Kalau Shuddha Sambhava. Everybody is Shuddha in this age of Kali. They're sleeping like cats and dogs, thinking they're this body. So we're raising them to spiritual consciousness. We're telling them, you're not cats and dogs. You are Brahman. Even in Lord Chaitanya's time, there were complaints against, he said, because they were saying, he is letting everyone hear this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and if everyone hears it, the potency of the mantra will be lost. That was the complaint against Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what did he do? Lord Chaitanya made the Namacharya Haridas Thakur. The Acharya of the holy name was born in a Muslim family. And he had Ramananda Roy, Grihastha, born in a low family. He was asking questions to him. He was asking Ramananda Roy. So, when we chant Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada said that dissolves our subtle body. This is the complaint of the Brahmanas. You have to change your body before you become a Brahmin. But when you get initiated, when you chant Hare Krishna, it dissolves your subtle body. This is explained in the Purport 5.135, that we don't know how we're changing our body, but when we chant Hare Krishna, we're changing our body. This once in LA, Srila Kirti said, Prabhupada said, if it's not for the chanting of Maha Mantra, you boys and girls could not do anything. In the West, you've used so many drugs, you can't accomplish anything. Chanting Hare Krishna has enabled you to get all these temples and devotees. It's simply Krishna's mercy and the chanting. So that's all we did. When we joined 10 hours a day, we were on Harinam, chanting Hare Krishna. And that's how we got everything. So we should understand that everybody's important. The hand is important, the leg is important, the pujari, the book distributor, the cooks, and everyone has something to give for Krishna's pleasure. Sometimes there were fights in ISKCON, no, book distribution is more important, everybody should lock the temple and go out, and different things were happening. But actually, Srila Prabhupada, he was always appreciating everyone's service, even if you're a pujari, even if you're a book distributor, even if you're a cook, even if you just clean the temple, he said it's equal to the pujari who's doing the puja. So the challenge of our life is, what can we do to please Krishna? How can we use our gift, whatever Krishna has given us? As again, I will quote this verse, Pranarartha Dhyavacha Shaya Acharanam Sada, that with our life, with our money, artha, with our intelligence, with our words, we should give to Krishna. So prana, again, Prabhupada said, give your life. If you can't give your life, artha, give money. If you can't give money, dhya, intelligence. If you can't give intelligence, then vacha, you chant Hare Krishna, or you tell someone to chant. So this is Prabhupada's mercy. In 1966, Prabhupada gave a lecture in front of all the hippies who just came out of the who knows where, and he told them, you must become guru. Lord Chaitanya says nobody's responsible for his birth. His responsibility is to advance in Krishna consciousness. If we want to enter the kingdom of God, there's no impediment. If we want to be Krishna conscious, it is open for everyone. And then he said a very interesting thing to all these hippies. The chance is given. You can become a Brahmana. You can become a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And you can become spiritual master of the whole world. So that was Prabhupada's blessings to us. So we should all take up his instructions and try to be a great devotee of Lord Krishna. We try to help others. Whoever we meet, tell them the message of Krishna. And we will please Srila Prabhupada and we will please Krishna. Jai Hare Krishna. If there's any comments, Madhavananda.
Thank you for such a delightful, satisfying presentation. I just have a small comment.
Good.
Thank you for such a delightful and satisfying presentation. Just a small comment. In one purport, Srila Bhakti Sangam, Chaitanya Bhagavata, he speaks about this system of greeting Vaishnavas.
Yes.
And he's really heavy. He says, you do not greet a Vaishnava and ask them, how are you? He says, we should say, Bhajan Koshal.
Bhajan?
Koshal. How's your bhajan?
How's your bhajan? How is your bhajan? Yes.
I'm not exactly sure how to postulate this question, so you'll have to forgive me. Prabhupada wanted to create a society of Brahmins, yet water seeks its own level, so
Exactly.
eventually everybody will fit wherever they belong. Yet this may be a little discouraging to those who want to apply themselves in a Brahminical society, because they may lack inspiration, being probably the smallest of all the four varnas. Probably the Brahmins are the smallest as far as magnitude and as a group. So how, even nowadays, it's hard to approach another Vaishnava and say, so how are your rounds? You know, how are your rounds? They actually, I found that they become upset when you ask them. How are your rounds?
You're challenging me?
How dare you? Yeah. And when you see
I think something's wrong with them.
Someone show up with a newly starched bead bag and counter beads, so you can tell that they haven't been chanted ever. So how do you, at the same time, encourage people to be Brahmins? And because nowadays you can go to any Sunday feast or any gathering of Vaishnavas, and usually the topics end up in business. Like, you know, how's your business? How are you doing? Are you making money? You know, you have a new car, etc., etc. So how do we establish that? I'm asking actually for practical advice. How do you encourage others to apply themselves to be Brahmins, even if they are not exactly suited for, you know? Like
are you saying that how do we encourage the Vaishnavas to be Brahmins? I think it's not a matter of becoming Brahmins, it's a matter of becoming Vaishnavas, which includes everyone. Brahmins is kind of like, as you say, a small category. So Vaishnavas, so Prabhupada was very expert in that. And he would take the person, whatever his ability and his interest was, and he would connect it with Krishna. So somehow that is the challenge, that we have to be able to greet them and say, well, you know, how is your business doing, and how are you how is your anyway? How are you helping? How is your business pleasing Krishna? I guess that would be too direct, but somehow connected to Krishna.
Well, I'm glad I precluded my opening saying not sure how to postulate the question. I was actually applying this question to Brahman Vaishnava, not just a Brahman. But you have to see that some of the qualities, like being clean and punctual and studious and honest, etc., are qualities of a Vaishnava. So what I'm asking from you is how, besides giving a good example, which is above my pay grade, how can you encourage others to apply themselves in becoming more Brahminical in their Vaishnava development?
Yeah, well, first is example. But then when you were just now speaking, I was thinking you could ask them for advice. You know, oh wow, you're so expert in making money. I would also like to make some money because I need to print these books. I need to do something for Krishna. You know, you can bring them that way, in that direction. Say, oh, how can I do this? Can you give me some advice? How can I make money because for printing books for this? And you get their advice on how to do that. And there was one person who came recently to one temple where I visited, and the temple wanted advice in fundraising. And so here was a person who was expert. And so, therefore, he was able to come and he was able to use his expertise in helping the temple to raise funds. So what I would do is try to somehow engage them in Krishna conscious things, even if it can't be direct. Because, you know, there's, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, always think of me. If you can't do that, follow the regulative principles. If you can't do that, help the devotees. Do something to help. So we see which level everybody's at, and then see how they can be engaged in Krishna service, and then we try to address them in that way, with that view. But giving all respect, like they're an authority in their field, and then we can, you know. And even, you know, the sage, he went to the king, he said, how's your kingdom? He didn't try to be Krishna conscious with them. Angera went to Chittagate and he said, how's your body? How's your, you don't look very happy. Is something wrong? Is your kingdom okay? And he gave all the list of the things. He didn't say, are you chanting the rounds? And Vasudeva said to Nanda, how's your cows? So we can take these examples from Bhagavatam, but we don't. Yes, then we have to respect whatever level they're on and engage them at that level. Is what I can say. You can't say, well, you should be a Brahmin Prabhu, like me. I mean, then they won't be happy like that. That's all I can say. Otherwise, you can just remind them of Srila Prabhupada. If they're Prabhupada disciples, then you can say, remember when, remind them of the wonderful service they did when Prabhupada was here. How they were chanting, how they were... Remember those times when we were getting up at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning chanting all around, then we would go out and distribute books and then get them into that frame of mind. Because just remembering, that helps you to get back into that. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that, try to... I know some people, they used to do book distribution, then they all, started to go out and do it, just for a week or so, weekend. And it was just like old times, and they were getting very enthusiastic. So that's just an idea that came to my head. Yes?
Isn't it also a little bit of a question of etiquette?
Yeah.
That the senior one is meant to affectionately reach out to the younger ones and uplift.
Exactly.
And if we don't have that adhikar, it's kind of a little against, the etiquette to come as a junior and less, advanced devotee and try to uplift here the senior one or something.
Were you thinking like that with seniors, or was it more like equals?
Anybody.
Anybody. Okay.
Anyone who has actually followed the process and now they're a little...
Yeah, and they've left.
Forgetful.
I think the best thing for Prabhupada disciples, remind them of what they were doing for Prabhupada. Remember those days, yeah. And then get them in that mood, and wouldn't it be nice to feel that again, like kind of thing. You have to be respectful. Any other question? Yes, first. And then you.
Thank you so much. I have a question about the truthfulness.
Truthfulness.
Yes, because we are not living in a society which is very useful and good.
Are you saying truthfulness or
truthfulness?
Truthfulness.
Yes. What is the border for this? Because sometimes if you are too truthful, it's not beneficial for your spiritual life. So you have to be. What is the solution?
Well, this here in this verse it says Desha Kala, according to time and place. So in Bhagavad Gita it is described that you don't want to, you speak words that are pleasing to others, you don't want to disturb others. There was an example in the early days of somebody, one devotee, he wrote an article for Back to Godhead criticizing Ballabhacharya because it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. But then, Prabhupada's patron, Sumati Maraji got upset because she's following Ballabhacharya. And she gave Prabhupada the free boat ride to America. And so Prabhupada, he balanced it. He said, yes, we should speak the truth, but it should be according to time, place, and circumstance. That you don't want to offend others by speaking the truth, but you have to do it in such a way that they speak it themselves, without you being the master or the guru. That it can be, you can ask them advice about it, and let them understand what is the truth. Okay, yes?
No, it is just a short comment. I wanted to thank you very much because we speak a lot about Varnashram and then different devotees approach it from different angles. That, yes, we have to stop buying milk in the shop, that will make Varnashram. And the women will have to stop doing active service, that will make Varnashram. And so many things. But your point that it comes when the superiors have love, I think that was such an important point. I just wanted to say it one more time. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, Madhavanand.
Just one last comment if I can. This question keeps coming up again and again. How do we know which Varna and Ashram that we're in? And Bhaktivinoda addresses this in his commentary on Sikshashtaka, in the first verse. He says that the first result of chanting the holy name, when you clean the mirror is really dirty, you can't see your face in it. But when you start cleaning it, the first thing you can see some vague thing in it. And he said that's our position in Varnashram. And that comes by chanting the holy name.
Interesting. First thing we see is what position we're in. And we chant Hare Krishna. Thank you for that. So everybody should chant very nicely. And then you'll find it. Actually, whenever devotees would ask Prabhupada a question, many times artists, I have examples, artists would ask, and different ones, Prabhupada would say, just chant Hare Krishna, and the answer will come. He wasn't the kind of a manager that would give a lot of details. He would encourage us to use our own creative intelligence, which is coming from Super Soul in the heart. And the way we get that is by chanting Hare Krishna. Because when you chant Hare Krishna, you tap into the reservoir of intelligence, which is Super Soul. If you chant attentively, then it's very nice. Okay, any other comments, questions? All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.